Hey guys, and welcome to today's idiot video. Today's video is going to be a bit different as it comes from a live debate with a flat earther named Killer Whale that recently took place on the Modern Day Debate channel. Like always, the civil conversation devolved into name calling and insults, but this time it wasn't me. So I'm going to let this video play through, cutting out the insignificant parts for brevity. A huge shout out to the Modern Day Debate channel who hosted this live stream and raised $181 for the United Negro College Fund. To watch the full-length dumpster fire without interruption, head over to the Modern Day Debate channel. A link will be in the description. Also, we're going to do things a little bit different for this video. Instead of me counting up the number of idiotic things he says, I'm gonna let you count them. So leave a comment below letting me know how far you made it into the video and what your idiot count is. So let's begin. I'm glad to be here. So I haven't debated anybody in a while. It always devolves for me with somebody dealing with some of these flat earthers. I haven't found too many of them that are willing to have an actual conversation without just calling me names. So hopefully tonight will be different and we'll all have a good time.
So I'm not going to say that this debate is a waste of time, but for me personally, the debate has been over with for a while. From what I've gathered and what I can understand, science can't really prove that the Earth even moves or spins, and physics can't prove that, but they proved that in 1887 with the Michelson Morley experiment. And then Einstein, he said that was an embarrassment at one point. Relativity and special relativity came along, and then the Earth moved again. But I heard, and I can't verify this, so I don't know, but I heard that later in life, Einstein admitted that he failed. And other top scientists have said that they can't disprove the geocentric model that the Earth is at the center of the universe, because observably it is, but they can't disprove geocentricity, but they can reject it on philosophical grounds because it's uncomfortable to think about we are at the center of the universe, because that probably means that God is real. And I'm saying probably being sarcastic because I know God is real, but I'm not an atheist. I am a Christian, and if I get a chance, I'd like to read just a couple short scriptures eventually in this friendly debate. And I'm not going to be calling names, and I'm not going to get worked up, or I'm not going to go to the mat, for flat earth. But I know what I believe, and I think I know what science can prove. Repeatable, real science, verifiable, repeatable science, empirical evidence. I just don't think it exists for the globe, and we'll see what my friend has to say here, and we'll go from there.
And with that, Team Skeptic, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, that was a decent presentation. It's pretty much the InfoWars video that just came out, which is totally fine, because that video needed to be addressed. I addressed it actually on Simon Dan's channel today. That was what my video was all about. So this is actually a good thing that you're bringing this up right now. Would you like me to present a case or just address what you said? I can do either one.
Either one or both.
Okay. Well, how about this? I'll go ahead and present my case because my case rests on three valid observations that have yet to be explained by any flat earther.
Well, you did ask me. You asked me what I knew gravity. Okay, never mind. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you asked me what I knew about it.
Well, yeah. We'll get to your arguments in a minute. What I'm going to do is lay out my plan, and then we'll go back and forth with discussing each other's evidence.
Sure.
So my 3 points of evidence will be that number one, we observe gravity. We observe gravity as a natural phenomenon. Anything that is not attached to something else is going to experience a force acting upon it that causes it to go in a vector that points 90 degrees perpendicular to the ground. to level. Okay, so that's going to be my first point. We do see evidence of this in accelerometers. There'll be lots of people out there that will tell you that it is it's a product of buoyancy and density, which is incorrect. Accelerometers are done in airtight vacuum chambers, basically, where there is no other material in there to have a relative density against. So we do have that. We also have the rotation of the Earth with the 15 degrees per hour as observed on optical gyroscopes, which we will get to in a second because it does have to do with something I'm sure you're going to bring up with a quote from Einstein that was also mentioned in that video. So we'll bring that up and explain how modern technology that was not around during the times of Einstein have now given us a better understanding of what we're doing, of what's actually happening in our cosmology. And then the third one is going to be two. So number one, we're going to talk about curvature, and we're going to talk about not just curvature, but also cosmology that supports curvature and presents a problem for the flat Earth. And that would be number one, how we can measure the North Star Polaris based on our latitude. The only shape that conforms to it, that a surface could conform to and still give the readings that we get for Polaris, how high it is in the sky. The only shape that could possibly be is a spherical three-dimensional surface. We also have on the opposite side, the second hand to that is going onto the southern hemisphere and saying, well, if it's a three-dimensional spherical object, then we must see this observation in the southern hemisphere, and that would be southern rotational stars. We absolutely see a southern rotational point near the star of Sigma Octantis. That right there is evidence of a rotating Earth. You can say, it's a combination with the gyroscope that you could say, well, it could be that the stars are just rotating around the Earth until you introduce a test that tests for inertial forces like the Coriolis force, which that also is one of my points of rotation. It's the Coriolis force. We'll get to that, being that we know that the Earth's surface is a rotating reference frame because we see the Coriolis force. And other observations like saying, well, if it is a globe, what should we see? Well, we should see forces that are equal and opposite in the different hemispheres, which is exactly what we see. There's people that I won't bring up what other people say about explaining Coriolis, but I will say that if he has any contention to Coriolis, he can definitely bring it up. So there is rotation, there is curved surface for you, and there's gravity for you. The three main contentions that the flat earthers like to say don't exist, and they also all happen to have three erroneous explanations for these proofs or these evidences. So that's why I chose these three, to give him a chance to explain it in his best words so that we could have an open conversation about it.
Awesome.
And that's me, and I'm done.
Awesome.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that was really good. A really good presentation. A lot of information there for me to try to remember and recall. It is interesting that you started with gravity, which is still a theory. And I think it took Isaac Newton, like 500 pages, I think, to explain it with equations. And it's still a theory. I think gravity...
just 1 second, Killer Well. During this section, or am I just allowing him to respond to my points, or am I also responding to him? If he's just responding to my points, I'll let him respond to my points, and then I'll respond to his after he's done responding to mine, and then we can have the open conversation if you'd like to do it that way.
To be fair, I didn't respond to any of your comments while you were speaking.
Oh, wait.
No, well, I know. I'm saying in this section, would you just like to respond to my evidences and then give me a chance to respond to yours as well? And then we can have the conversation, or do I respond to you here?
Well, like if I need to ask you, you could join in and correct me if I get something,
Sure.
Say something that you said that you actually didn't say, but Anyway,
Well, hold on one sec. I mean, it's totally. I'll defer to you guys. So sorry to interrupt you.
okay,
Um,
yeah,
I'll defer to you guys. So like, whatever you guys find most enjoyable. I was thinking it was like kind of like a 10-minute opening statement from each side, and then like kind of the civil discourse, like open dialogue.
yeah,
But
that's what I
if
was
you guys
thinking.
would kind of like
Okay.
rebuttals.
That works for me too.
Okay.
That works for me too. But go ahead with your point about gravity, and I'll because
Okay,
the reason why I wanted to stop you there is because you did mention the fact that it is a theory, and I can absolutely agree with you right there. Well, aside from the law of gravitational attraction, which is what it's really, which is what the mathematics is, it's the law of gravitational attraction. The theory is from the theory of general relativity. I'm going to try to keep it in in a very classical speaking term, speaking on just Newton, so that we don't have to, when we're talking about general relativity, it's a very difficult topic it just makes things more difficult than it needs to be when we can easily speak of it in Newtonian terms and just come to an agreement that regardless of whether me talking about Newtonian gravity or, Einsteinian relativity, I'm explaining the same phenomenon.
okay,
Okay, so when you say something is a theory, we're not talking about it in the colloquial terms. It's not a term to say, I have a theory about what is going to happen tomorrow, at my job. No, it's more of a scientific theory is a
Mhm.
well established, backed by absolute fact, okay, by experimental fact. I know the word theory kind of wants to give people an opportunity to jump in and go, well, that means they don't understand. Well, the
Can
purpose of
gravity
science.
can
Go ahead.
gravity
I'm sorry.
be can gravity be shown and demonstrated?
Absolutely.
Okay, and repeated.
Absolutely.
How and what test does that?
Can I let me try? Let me share my screen in 1 second.
I,
Okay.
if all of this proves a globe, then we're getting somewhere. If unless you
Okay.
could prove a globe, um,
Yeah, not a
if
problem.
plus this was actually my time to speak, and you interrupted me, and now I'm kind of,
Oh,
I never got to make my points,
I'm
and now
one sec. One
it's all
second.
about you again.
One second. I might have. I think I did a mistake, or I made a mistake. Forgive me. I miscommunicated. I didn't communicate it super well. What I meant to say is that uh, I was thinking that this would be like an open discussion, like now, where just like
Oh,
dial.
this is open now. Okay,
Yeah, sorry about that. I kind of let you guys. I kind of left confusion there. It's our, but yeah. So
okay.
now it's like open discourse, so you guys can like feel free to go back and forth.
Well, I mean, I was going to keep it pretty simple and say that I think other forces. There's definitely forces, and gravity could very well be one of them. And I'm certain that it is. Except that's what they call it. They call it gravity. I think gravity is easily more explained by. I think it's not a pull from below. It's a push from above. I'm pretty sure I got that right. It's pretty simple, but um, and to as far as like, I think that magnetic forces, like what's the word I'm looking for there? I forgot it now. Darn it. Anyway, there's magnetic forces are actually stronger than science gives them credit for. And the things about the Polaris and the North Star, and that would only work on a spherical object. Actually, the Polaris has been seen below the 60th parallel, and all the observations you mentioned can be explained and work just fine and perfectly in a flat Earth, in a flat plane. Also, the Coriolis effect I don't really know about, but somebody mentioned that hurricanes actually prove a globe because of the way they rotate, where they come from, and that can only work on a sphere. So, I mean, things like that, you know, globe or, people that are against the flat Earth, which it observably is, and I think it is, but they always want you to look somewhere else besides the Earth. They want you to look up and look at this and look over there and look at these equations, and they're never talking about the Earth and actually, what we live on. But I just think that the Bible is true. I don't think it's ever really been proven wrong. I don't think anybody's came out and said, "Oh, yeah, we got this," and that proves that the Bible's wrong. So I just kind of go by that. And but I just feel like if the Coriolis effect proved a globe, I would have heard about it, or science would be jumping up and down, yelling and screaming. NASA would be saying it. We'd be having a headline in the paper, or at least some articles about it. If anything proved a globe, flying and spinning, flying through space, then they would be presenting that stuff. Instead, when you debate this topic, it's all about like the Coriolis effect and the North Star and how you can observe it, and the southern stars, how that proves a sphere, and this proves it can only work on a sphere. This is fact. This is definite. This is positive. All this stuff is never presented to the public in a way that would actually eliminate the flat Earth topic. So I think we live on a plane. I don't know if I can share a flat plane that goes on possibly for tens of thousands of miles. I'm not going to say it's infinite, but I think it goes on for tens of thousands of miles. I think the Earth, what we call the Earth, surrounded by the oceans, is surrounded by higher elevation land. It's Antarctica. I don't think that's even a continent. You can't go down there. Captain Cook and Captain Ross and a third British ship called the Challenger all tried to circumnavigate Antarctica.
Sir, may I stop you for a second?
And
Because you were addressing.
All traveled 60,000 miles.
Can I address you for a second? You were addressing my points. You were addressing my points, and now you're going back into providing more points. Do I need to start taking notes that you're now providing more points and no longer addressing my original ones?
I think.
Okay.
There's a good chance to switch back over. Go ahead, Team Skeptic.
Yeah. So now let me go to your. Are you done addressing my points? Because I'm trying to think. I did present Coriolis. I did present north and southern star rotations. I did present gravity. Trying to think if there or rotation. I guess we didn't talk about. I didn't provide you the. I said that we have equipment, optical equipment. Of course, Bob from Globebusters. I'm sure you're aware of him measuring a 15-degree drift with an optical gyroscope.
Yeah,
so
I don't think that is evidence. I don't think that proves a globe.
What's your basis for that?
The whole documentary, the whole Netflix thing is just.
Well, yeah, but Bob did the measurement himself. Bob did the measurement himself. So what part of that do you not accept?
Well, that explains it. Is Bob a scientist? Is he an expert with gyroscopes? I mean,
you don't have to be an expert with gyroscopes to turn it on.
Can I go to the hardware? I can just go to the hardware.
Let me address that real quick. Let me address that real quick. You don't have to be an expert in the gyroscope to turn it on and set it down on the table.
Oh, so there's this magic thing you can just press a button and prove a globe.
One second.
That's pretty.
Just to make sure that Team Skeptic gets plenty of time to respond, because it's there were a lot of points that you had laid out, Patrick, and so we'll come back to you. I promise, Patrick.
Okay.
Well, yeah. There was really only two major points that he pointed out, and that was at Michelson Morley, the Michelson Morley experiment, and how Einstein used special relativity to save the Michelson Morley experiment, to save the Earth going through space and not have to adhere to a ridiculous idea like the Earth is stationary in the middle of space and in the entirety of space.
I have to address this.
You'll get your opportunity. You'll get. I was quiet while you spoke. Hold on. I was quiet while you spoke.
I will not let you.
Patrick,
you can.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, let me speak. Let me speak and address you when I'm done.
I do not believe what the Flat Earth Society believes.
I didn't say you did.
Okay.
So he's throwing that out there to put this image of an idiots that are on a disc floating in space.
We're living on a disc floating through space with a tiny sun.
Okay.
I didn't say anything like that.
Bullshit.
Well, okay.
I didn't say anything like that.
We'll come right back to you.
I said the geocentric model, which has the Earth in the center and the universe rotating around the Earth. That's the geocentric model. That was part of the presentation. Yes. Listen to me. Okay. You repeated InfoWars, whether you were aware of the implications of just parroting that video or not. What you did bring up was the geocentric model, which does have the Earth at the center of the universe, and the entirety of the universe rotates around it. regardless of how big they think it is, what shape they think it is, the entirety of the universe rotates around the Earth in the geocentric model.
Yes,
That's all I said. I didn't bring up Flat Earth Society. I didn't bring
No,
anything,
but you
any
made
of
a
that up.
point that they believe.
So
Didn't
let
you
me
say-
get back to
Hold on.
addressing
They
your
were
points
both
that you
in
made.
One second.
Didn't you-
Let
Wait,
me
I
get
promise.
back to
Just because there were a lot of points, Patrick, that that you had laid out, and so we want to give him a
listen,
chance to
okay.
respond to those too.
I don't like people that say they said something when they actually said something else.
Okay, that's fair, but we want to just let him address the rest of the points that
All
you
right.
had laid out just a minute ago, and then we will come back to you, and you can make that case as well.
Okay. Let me just get a clarifying question, because the 3 points I'm about to address for you are 3 things that you said in your opening statement, and I would like you to at least admit that you said them or correct me if I'm wrong. You brought up the Michelson Morley experiment, did you not? Yes or no?
Again, that was a casual opening.
Okay, well then would you like to represent 3 or 4 or 10 points of
Well,
the flat earth that I can address? Because I'm addressing your points you brought up in the beginning, whether they were casual or not. That was your opportunity to present your position. And
Okay.
what you talked about was Michelson Morley, special relativity. And then you said Einstein came through and said you couldn't tell whether it was stationary, whether it was a geocentric model or another model. I'm just addressing the points that you brought up. You brought them up, not me.
Yeah, I know, and that's
Okay,
not
so
exactly
what
I
other
said.
points would you like me to address about the flat earth other than those 3 points?
Let me clarify. I guess I'll try my opening again. Michelson Morley, the Michelson Morley experiment had something to do with the ether. Now, I can't even go so far as to say they proved that the earth didn't move, but they proved that the ether wasn't moving. Other scientists besides Einstein, other top scientists have said that the geocentric model cannot be disproved. It can only be disregarded on a philosophical level. So they can't disprove geocentricity, the geocentric model. That Einstein didn't say that, and I didn't say he did. But Einstein admitted later in his life that special relativity failed to disprove the Michelson-Morley experiment. So, as far as that goes, yeah, I think that's what I said. And if I didn't, that's what I just said now.
That's literally what I just tried to address. Okay, so let me inform you a little bit about the Michelson Morley.
Said that I said Einstein, and you changed your voice to make me sound like an idiot. I see what you do. I know
didn't change my voice.
Okay, so we're going to stop the video right here for a brief moment and play the clip of me talking about Einstein's involvement in the Michelson-Morley experiment. He claimed that I changed my voice to make him look stupid, but that wasn't the case. Here.
Okay.
Well, yeah, so there was really only two major points that he pointed out, and that was at Michelson-Morley, the Michelson-Morley experiment, and how Einstein used special relativity to save the Michelson-Morley experiment.
As you can see, I didn't change my voice to make him look stupid. He's doing that all on his own. So let's continue.
Okay. Okay. Everything's in my imagination.
Dude, don't be a snowflake. Let me address these, please.
Hey, look, don't be an asshole.
Hold on one second. Okay, guys, so hold on. Patrick, I mean, I might have totally missed it. I honestly don't remember him making a voice.
I'm conservative, by the way. I'm not a liberal. Jackass.
Okay, wait.
There's snowflakes on both sides.
Wait, hold on 1 second.
I think you're one.
All right.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, chill out. What we're going to do, no need to get so worked up. I honestly, Patrick, I promise, I really don't think he made a voice. But anyway, okay, we'll go to whoever's turn it was to. I'm so sorry.
Well, it's mine. It's mine to educate for a second. Okay, the Michelson-Morley test, and you said it right the first time. I think I said Michelson. It's Michelson, so you were right there. Michelson-Morley test. You said that it proved that the ether was stationary to the Earth. Now, I'm 100% sure you're just parroting this. You don't know the science behind it. You don't know the math behind it. You're just saying what you heard, and that's fine. I'm going to address it so that maybe you can understand it, okay? So we had observations, cosmological observations that showed that the Earth was not stationary. Okay, these are cosmological observations. This is well before Einstein, well before Michelson. All right, they already accepted the fact that the Earth went around the sun. In fact, Michelson and Morley
designed a test that was to be tested at 2 different times so that it could be tested at different positions in the orbit. Now, here's the thing. If Michelson Morley did not believe that the Earth went around the sun, then it would not have mattered to them. Okay. They would not have tested it at 2 different points in the orbit to test the ether drag, to test the effects of ether drag on the speed of light. Okay. So that was the whole purpose of the ether test.
Okay.
What they got back was that every time they measured it, it always seemed as though the light went at the same speed. Therefore, the ether, should it exist, would also have to be stationary to the Earth. Mm-hmm. So if the Earth was going around the sun, then that meant the ether was rotating around the sun. That means the ether, the whole thing, the entire universe was rotating around the sun. That's what it meant. That's why they said that's a ridiculous concept. Obviously, the ether's not real because we know we're moving through space.
Oh.
So we must be moving through the ether. That was the concepts that they had. And when they came back, they said, okay, so all tests show that we're moving stationary to the ether. Therefore, maybe we got something wrong. And that's what they came up with. That's when Einstein stepped forth and said, okay, so you guys are disregarding something in physics that we all know, that in all inertial reference frames, the laws of physics are the same. So that if you have 2 people that are traveling at a constant speed, each person should still see the speed of light moving at the speed of light if they're both inertial. Okay. Yeah. And they'll agree that light, that's the one thing they're both going to agree on, is that light is moving at the same speed. Now, speed is measured by distance or time, distance over time. So to keep the speed of light the same for both observers, they postulated that time and space were malleable, meaning that you will experience time and distance different than I will experience time and distance. That's the concepts based on special relativity. And once you apply special relativity to that experiment, the answers come out and you say, okay, well, then we have to consider time and length contraction. And once we take all things into consideration regarding special relativity, there's not an optical experiment that you can do to determine whether it's you that's moving or whether it's something else that's moving.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I basically grasp what everything you just said. But again, it's just like you use words like we have to consider. So it's not fact, it's not proven, but you have to consider things, and then you say the answers come out, but they're not facts. They're just results that you got from doing your physics equations and your maths.
And there's a problem with that. There's a problem with that mindset. The problem with that mindset is that you believe that's where it stops. That Einstein said, hey, guess what? We found, give me 1 second. You believe that they say, we found the answer. We're going to stop there. That's not how science works.
That's not what I'm saying.
Science has to be testable and reusable.
Exactly.
If Einstein comes through and says, this is the way it is, and we go and we test what Einstein says and it doesn't work out, then we say, no, Einstein, you're wrong. Now, in science, there's also the understanding in science.
Hold on 1 second.
There's also the understanding in science that you are always in a position to learn more, to have a better understanding. That's where we're at now. We need a better understanding, and we hopefully will find a better understanding.
We'll jump.
So you just painted. Wait a minute. He just painted a 2-minute picture about that. I'm saying we stop right there. We don't explore anymore, and that's my mindset. And here's what's wrong with it.
All right, so we're going to stop it again right here momentarily to clarify what I was saying. I was saying that when you stop at one explanation, like the ether exists because of the Michelson Morley experiments, without considering all of the other options like Einstein's special relativity, then you find yourself falling victim to scams and dumb ideas like the earth is flat. Here's the clip. That's the concepts based on special relativity, and once you apply special relativity to that experiment, the answers come out and you say, okay, well, then we have to consider time and length contraction. And once we take all things into consideration regarding special relativity, there's not an optical experiment that you can do to determine whether it's you that's moving or whether it's something else that's moving.
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, I basically grasp what everything you just said. But again, it's just like you you use words like we have to consider. So it's not fact, it's not proven, but you have to consider things, and then you say the answers come out.
So as you can see, I wasn't actually addressing him in particular, but science in general, and that was just his super sensitive side coming out. But there's more, so let's keep going.
So he's attacking me personally on and saying things, representing me with his own words, which I didn't.
Can you please tell me what the personal attack was on you?
Science. I mean, this is a fucking joke, man.
Can you tell me what the personal attack was on you?
I just want to make sure that
You're attacking character. You're not. You know what you're doing, dude. You're probably pretty good at it, but it's not going to work with me.
We're just
so.
Well, we want to give you a chance, Patrick. If there's any other points that Team Skeptic had made that you want to give a rebuttal to, we want to give you a chance to do that. So I know that.
Yeah.
I don't want to kind of have you feel rushed.
No, well, I am now, but the thing is, he represented me by saying that the problem with my mindset is that you just want to stop right there and get an answer and stop right there. But that's not how science works, because we don't, so that's not what I meant. That's not what I was saying. I say research, experiment, science is great. Real science is awesome. Okay. So
then why are you going backwards with science? Why are you trying to take us back to before Michelson Morley, before special relativity, before general relativity?
Look, let's go back to Copernicus. That's where it pretty much started, or even before that. So in the Vatican and Copernican theory took over. That's what they taught. That's what they teach. That's what they've been teaching ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
And the whole world knew the Earth was flat and enclosed for thousands of years until Copernican theory came along, and that can't even be proven. It's still observably geocentric. So, and the Earth is stationary. I'm sorry, bro. We're not flying through space. We're not spinning around at 1,066 miles an hour. We're not flying through space at 66,666 miles an hour. We're just.
Look, you can say that all you want, but if you want to make a positive claim, I'd like to see your evidence.
Billion years old. It's just evolution. The only reason they have the globe model, or the only reason they have evolution, is for the globe model. It's all just to hide God. That's what this is all about. So you've done a great job at deflecting and presenting scientific bullshit.
Really?
That has nothing to do with the Earth. It's all about.
Can I ask you a question? When do you think they stopped believing that the Earth was flat? When do you think the very first experiment to say that the Earth was not flat? When do you think the very first one was?
I don't know, Columbus, or probably something else. I'm sure.
Oh God, yeah, you need to go do some research, dude. Eratosthenes, yeah, before zero CE.
Eratosthenes.
Yeah, before 0 CE. Okay.
Okay.
Like
What
200 years before the Common Era. All right. Now, do you happen to know when Copernicus was around?
Yeah, 500 BC.
500 BC, really?
Yeah, but they weren't teaching.
You think so, right?
Schools and
do you really think that Copernicus was around at 500 BC?
No, not BC. I'm sorry, 500 AD.
Do you think that he was around at 500 AD? Do you really think that, or do you want to go do a little bit of research before you speak?
I used to know.
We all used to know, but at the moment we stop following up on our education, the moment we stop learning new things, that's the moment we fall victim to scams and idiotic ideas like the flat Earth.
So don't be a flat earther, folks, because just believe in the globe. We're flying through space. They can't prove it, but they can prove it. And
so, what other points of contention? Did you want to see proof of gravity real quick, or are you?
You're just going to prove gravity real quick. Here, let me do it for you.
Here, will you please share? How do I share my screen?
You're a smart ass.
So there's a green art, Patrick. All right, Patrick. It's chill. Like,
you want me to prove
I've never seen a grown man get so triggered by intelligence.
So there's there should be a green.
Yeah, I've never seen
a green rectangle. Okay, I don't know if I want to hear the next thing that you say. There's a green rectangle with a arrow coming out of it, At
What
least
does physics
in-
do for you in real
Oh,
life?
I see it. I see it. I see it.
I guess
Oh,
Pat-
hey, you want to know, Patrick? You want to know what physics does for us in real life? The fact that you and I are having this
I
conversation.
said, what does
right
it do
now,
for you?
that the fact that you and I are having this conversation right now is because of physics.
And
you
yet
can
it
thank
can't
them
prove
later.
a globe. And yet physics
Oh my
can't prove a
God.
globe.
And
Isn't that
yet
amazing?
you're so disingenuous, you'll deny everything that they have proven.
It can't prove a globe.
You will
guys
use
can't
every
prove a
bit
globe.
of their technology to your benefit in life, and then turn around and say that they're all fucking wrong.
You can't prove a globe, dude.
Please share my.
You can't prove a globe.
So let me just run this. I'll give you a kind of brief explanation as to what's about to happen. Then I'll run the video so you can see it for yourself. This little weight right here is being pulled down, and there's a really precise scale up here that's measuring the weight that's being of this scale of this triangle right here. It's lead. He's going to roll this lead ball underneath it, and the weight is going to increase on the triangle without touching the ball. This is backs up. This is evidence to support Newtonian's concepts of gravity right here.
It's support.
Yes, to support. It
It
backs
is.
it
I just
up.
said it's
It backs
support.
it up. Hold on.
I
Do
just
you
said
understand
that.
it? Yeah. Do you understand what that means?
It's
It
support.
means that
Yes, I understand it.
this is what you could consider a null hypothesis right here.
It
You could
supports the
say,
theory.
right, this is a good way of disproving gravity too, because if he moves it under and it doesn't add weight, then you could say gravity's supposed to add weight, and it didn't. So here you go. Let me play
It's
this.
nothing magnetic, though. It's just gravity.
Sir, do you want to reevaluate that question and go determine what kind of material lead is before you speak up? Here we go.
Electromagnetism.
Again, just please go do research before you speak.
I know, because gravity.
What I just said has nothing to do with gravity. Just go do your research. So that's the original reading of it going down, right? 2.166. Why did that go up in weight?
Got to be gravity.
Oh, thank you.
That proves everything.
I mean, you don't have another plausible explanation, do you?
I don't, but I'm sure somebody else does.
Well, people try to ad hoc their way through that, but it's not typically something that can be done very easily.
Well, I mean, it's always that we can't prove anything, and how do you answer this experiment? How do you answer that? But it's never about you proving that we're flying through space on a ball, spinning. And, you know, we came from monkeys, and the universe is infinite, basically. And we're just flying through space for billions of years. And that's how it is, guys.
Hey,
We can observe it and prove it, but, you know, we can't get rid of these flat earthers.
There's no plausible explanation that you'll have for this. You can say magnetics, but you really need to go research what lead is before saying that.
Yeah.
All right. So,
I mean, I think I've given you quite a bit of time. Science.
Let me bring up a thing. You said God is real and God's been proven, right? Or
No,
God has not been disproven. You said God has not been disproven, right?
No, I didn't say that.
What did you say? What did you say about God and proof? You said
said
God has not been disproven, is what I thought you said.
Said the Bible. The Bible's not been disproven.
I'm pretty sure you said God.
I'm pretty sure I said Bible. If you play it back when you get done here.
Okay. Well, the spaghetti monster doctrine hasn't been disproven either. The spaghetti monster doctrine hasn't been disproven either.
Oh, I know. Yeah, that's funny.
It's not funny. I'm using your logic. I'm trying to show you how ridiculous your evidence is. Your evidence is ridiculous. You didn't know what the Michelson Morley experiment was.
I know.
You brought up the geocentric because you heard somebody talk about it. When I brought that up, you said I was straw manning you. I wasn't. You brought it up. You brought it up. You brought it up.
I know. I'm the bad guy.
You say equations are not real, but I ask you, sir, if you were going to present
real.
Listen.
Response, Patrick.
He says science doesn't present equations to the public. Did you at least say that?
No, I didn't.
Wow, you are just
this is
making
no.
shit up. I
Okay,
wrote all
you're a
this down
fucking
as
liar,
I
dude.
All
wrote
right,
all
hold on
this
one
down
second.
as you
You're a
said it,
fucking
okay?
liar.
Patrick,
You're a
all right.
liar.
So before we get to the end of this debate, and yes, there is some more stupid left, I need to make a small correction. Because during the debate, he begins to give me more proofs to address, and I couldn't find my original pen. All I could find was a Sharpie. And when reading back what I wrote, it looked like it said equations. But looking back on it, what I wrote down and meant to say was explanations. Regardless, it should be pointed out that what he actually said was that science doesn't give the public explanations of things like Coriolis force that would shut down the flat earth. But they actually do. And if flat earthers would quit assuming that other flat earthers know what they're talking about, they might learn a thing or two. But again, I admit I was wrong in saying that he said science doesn't provide equations to the public. But here is the clip of him saying that the explanations that science has aren't presented to the public.
They would be presenting that stuff. Instead, when you debate this topic, it's all about like the Coriolis effect and the North Star and how you can observe it, and the Southern Stars, how that proves a sphere, and this proves it can only work on a sphere. This is fact. This is definite. This is positive. All this stuff is never presented to the public in a way that would actually eliminate the flat Earth topic.
And now we can finish the debate.
So
They
this
get to say
this
that
whole debate
go
is
ahead.
just a farce. It's a big show for Team Skeptic. I mean,
Dude, I'm here for
not
you,
a big
man.
show. It's not a big show. It's just he's putting on a show. It's all bullshit. You know, this is what he does, man. This is what he does. It's
Well-
all about Team Skeptic
Well,
and,
hold on. Well, we're
and
gonna.
him painting a picture of the other debater in a bad light. This is what he does. I see it now. I'm out of here, basically.
Wait,
you know,
no,
he
no,
won't
Patrick.
shut up.
Wait,
He can't shut
like
up.
Patrick, we'll give you a chance to respond
No,
now.
you know what? I'm never. By the time I get to scripture, it's too late. The guy's just pushing science down our throat,
How about this? If while he's looking for, or while someone sends him,
and then he's
hold on,
saying
Patrick.
things. He's
Well,
saying things
Patrick.
that I said that I didn't say.
I know, and while he just asked if someone can look up the clip. My guess,
Yeah.
my guess.
All right, I'll wait here. I'll wait until you find all that stuff. We'll be here.
Well, how about this? I'm not interested in the scripture part, so why don't you read the scripture
I'm
part?
not interested. I'm not interested in waiting for your friends to find something that's not there.
Well, wait, but we'll give you a chance while they're looking for it, Patrick. How about if you want to make your argument and then, like,
No, he's a dickhead, and that's just.
wait, hold on, wait. It's Patrick. Come on, it's that I'm.
He's.
I think he's just trying to. He's trying to persuade you, and I don't think it's fair to call him a dickhead. I think he's just trying to make his case, and he's
I know. I'm the bad guy. I'm the name.
No, you're not the bad guy. We're not saying anybody's a bad guy. It's more that we just want you to.
About me. He lies about me,
Patrick,
but he's trying to present his case. Mark, I mean, Patrick, just please, let him present his case. It's
Wait.
Yeah.
I mean,
pretty sure that's all that's been happening tonight. So
it's my goal was for both of you to get a kind of a chance to make your case, like, so we kind of go back and forth. So
he already disregarded the scripture. He doesn't want to hear it, so he's not interested. He'll probably just mute the whole thing. So
I don't. Well, he's not. Why, Patrick? Like, he's not muting the whole thing. He's listening.
I'm not interested. I'm not interested in what he has to say. He's not interested in what I say. I'm not interested in him.
Well,
so let's just end it. Let's end the debate now. Go ahead and end it, because I'm not going on anymore.
Would you be willing to at least stick around for the Q&A? Like,
let's see.
Okay. Let's see. Team Skeptic, I don't want to cut you short.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I'm back. I'm just I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything while I keep looking for that.
Find out where I said God has never been proven wrong, or something like that. Because I said the Bible, as far as I know, has never been proven wrong.
That's fine.
I never stated anything as fact. So why are you?
It's never been proven right either. It's never been proven right either. It's just your opinion.
I know. Okay. So,
So what are you doing presenting that as a factual anything for to support flat Earth?
I'm throwing it out there so people will read the Bible. God is real. You're not interested in scripture. You want to talk about
No,
baby.
but okay. This is
No.
where I do have a problem. Okay, this
I
is where
know.
I do have a problem
But you
because I
don't.
don't
You
have a
don't.
problem with people believing God is real or believing in the Bible. I hold an agnostic point of view. But when you come forth and say this is something you guys should be reading because it supports the flat Earth, which is real because
Yeah.
the book, because of the Bible that I'm
Mhm.
suggesting you to read, that's fucking circular reasoning right there. Nobody cares about the Bible or how you want to interpret it being a flat Earth book.
That's
There are
fine.
biblical scholars out there that absolutely are more informed than you are about the Bible and completely disagree with you. What do you have to say about that? Are you saying
They're
they're
wrong.
wrong too?
They're wrong. Anybody that
Oh,
sees
okay, they're
anybody
wrong.
that
They're
sees a
wrong.
globe in
They're
scripture,
experts in the field you're about to present, but they're
anybody
wrong
that sees a
too.
globe anywhere in scripture is wrong.
And do you
Gotcha.
have any proof of this, or is it just
Well,
they're
it never.
wrong
Okay,
and I
number
don't
one,
believe
the
it?
Bible never says the Earth is a spirit. It
Prove
never
the
says
Bible is
it's wrong.
real. Prove the Bible is right. Prove the Bible is right.
Prove gravity is true and real.
I just showed you
Oh, you just did.
evidence that
2 minutes.
supports
That's
the
right. I forgot
gravity.
about
We
that.
also have
I
the
forgot. It's
Galilean.
no longer a
Hold
theory.
on, Patrick. You want to hear
No
some?
longer a
You want to
theory.
hear
Gravity is no
evidence?
longer a
Okay.
theory,
We
guys.
also
Skeptic just
Patrick.
Well, hold on one
Gravity
sec, Patrick.
is no longer
Patrick,
on,
so
hold
I'm
on.
gonna have to forgive me, Patrick. Please don't make me mute you. I just want to we'll take turns and we'll kind of go back and forth.
out of here, guys. Sorry.
Patrick, I
Yep.
promise
Snowflakes
I would
do
really
melt and
Yep.
run away.
prefer we just want to we'll take turns, Patrick, and we
No.
promise we'll give you a okay, we lost
Hey,
Patrick.
subscribe to my channel, Patrick.
Alright guys, so that's it. Another flat earther rage quits in the middle of a debate when they realized they were up against the globe monster known as Team Skeptic. Now I'd like to take the time out to thank Killer Whale, also known as Flat Earth Forums, for only paying 50% attention to the InfoWars documentary he was trying to present. Because Killer Whale, you and every other flat earther out there are a fucking idiot. Alright guys, thanks for making it to the end. Don't forget to leave a comment below letting me know what your idiot count was. And a massive shout out to all of my channel members and patrons whose support helps me keep doing what I love to do. I'm Team Skeptic, and I'm out.